There's a version of you the narcissist never planned for. They planned for the version that stayed up wondering what they did wrong. They planned for the version that sent the apology text, even though you weren't the one who hurt anyone. They planned for the version that kept trying, kept explaining, kept hoping that if you could just find the right words, something would finally change. They built an entire relationship around that version of you. They studied your softness like a map. They learned which doubts to whisper when you started pulling away, which wounds to press when you got too close to the truth. And for a while, maybe a long while, it worked. But then something happened that they didn't anticipate. Something slower than anger and quieter than grief. Something that didn't announce itself with a dramatic confrontation or a tearful goodbye. It just arrived. And the moment it did, the narcissist lost the one thing they can never get back. They lost access to you. Psychologists who study complex trauma, including Dr. Gabor Mate, have long noted that the deepest healing doesn't look like loudness. It doesn't look like revenge or exposure or the satisfaction of finally being believed. The deepest healing looks like a woman who stops explaining herself, a man who stops shrinking to make someone else comfortable, a person who has moved so far into their own knowing that the old tactics simply find no surface to grip. That is the Sophia stage, and this video is about what it means and what it costs the narcissist when you reach it. Sophia is a Greek word meaning wisdom, not the kind you find in books, but the kind that's been forged in fire. Ancient philosophers drew a distinction between knowledge and Sophia. Knowledge is accumulation. Sophia is transformation. It's what happens when a person has suffered deeply, sat with that suffering honestly, and emerged not bitter but luminous, not hardened but unbreakable. For the empath who has survived narcissistic abuse, the Sophia stage is a specific threshold. It's the point at which you stop trying to understand the narcissist and start truly understanding yourself. The obsessive mental loops. Why did they do that? Did I cause this? How could someone who said they loved me treat me this way? Those loops don't stop because you forced them to. They stop because you finally received something more valuable than an answer from them, your own clarity. Carl Jung wrote that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The Sophia stage is that acceptance. And for the empath who was taught from childhood that their sensitivity was a burden, that acceptance is nothing short of revolutionary. The narcissist's entire architecture depends on one thing, your uncertainty. Not your kindness, though they exploit that. Not your empathy, though they weaponize it. Your uncertainty. The moment you doubt your own perception, the narcissist gains power. The moment you wonder if maybe you're too sensitive, too needy, too much, they win. Gaslighting only works in the dark. Manipulation only lands on someone who isn't sure of the ground beneath them. This is why the Sophia stage is genuinely threatening to a narcissist in a way that anger never is. Anger they can work with. Anger means you're still engaged, still reactive, still in the game. But a person who is no longer uncertain, a person who can look at their behavior and feel nothing but a clear-eyed recognition, no fury, no grief, just knowing, that person cannot be controlled. Psychological research on narcissistic personality patterns consistently shows that the narcissist's greatest fear isn't abandonment, despite what it looks like on the surface. Their deepest fear is irrelevance. And a Sophia stage empath doesn't make them feel abandoned. They make them feel invisible, which to a narcissist is so much worse. You might not have a name for what you've been feeling lately, but something has quietly shifted. Maybe you've noticed that their messages don't hit the same way anymore. You read the words, and instead of the old spiral, the anxiety, the second-guessing, the urge to respond immediately and perfectly, you feel something closer to neutral, maybe even a little tired, not numb, not detached in the wounded way you once were, just done. Maybe you've stopped rehearsing conversations with them in your head. You used to spend hours, unconsciously, preparing for what they might say next, preparing your defense, your explanation, your proof that you were good enough. Now those rehearsals have gone quiet. Maybe you've started making decisions, real ones, important ones, without first running them through the filter of what they would think. That filter used to be automatic. You didn't even notice it was there until the day it wasn't. Maybe the most telling sign: someone defends the narcissist to you, lists all their good qualities, tells you that you're being too hard on them. And instead of the old doubt creeping in, you just nod and think, I understand why you see it that way. No need to convince, no need to be believed. You know what you know. According to trauma experts who specialize in narcissistic abuse recovery, this is one of the clearest markers of genuine healing. The shift from needing external validation of your experience to simply holding your own experience as true. That's Sophia. That's the stage they cannot touch. When a narcissist senses the Sophia stage, they don't just feel inconvenienced. They feel existentially threatened. Watch for this. It often comes as a sudden charm offensive. The person who discarded you, belittled you, or simply made you feel chronically invisible will suddenly reappear with warmth you haven't seen in years. Old nicknames, genuine seeming apologies, vulnerability that looks real because it's designed to look real. This is called the Hoover, a term used in psychological circles to describe the narcissist's attempt to pull you back into their orbit. And here's what makes the Sophia stage so powerful in this moment. You don't need to be cold to them. You don't need to be cruel. You don't need to send the long letter explaining everything they did wrong or prove, finally, that you're not the person they made you feel like. You can simply receive their charm with a kind of peaceful indifference. I see you, your energy says, and I see exactly what this is. That response, that calm, unshakable recognition, is genuinely incomprehensible to a narcissist. They have no script for it. They are wired to escalate when ignored or to disarm when given an opening. A person who is neither ignoring them nor giving them an opening breaks their entire system. Some will escalate anyway, become hostile, spread rumors, recruit others to their side. That too is information. That too confirms exactly what you already know. Most people think the empath's greatest weapon is empathy itself. But after Sophia, it becomes something even more powerful. It becomes discernment, the ability to feel deeply and still choose wisely. To love something for what it was without needing it to be anything other than what it is. To grieve a relationship clearly, not with the distortion of blame or the fog of longing, but with the clean sadness of someone who sees the full picture and is finally at peace with it. Trauma experts describe this quality as integrated grieving, and it is one of the rarest forms of emotional maturity a human being can reach. The fact that you're here, watching this, thinking about these ideas, that's not nothing. That's evidence of someone who has chosen again and again to understand rather than stay wounded. You didn't survive all of that just to stay small. Everything they did, the minimizing, the rewriting of history, the slow erosion of your confidence, it was designed with one purpose: to keep you in orbit around them, to make yourself, your needs, your instincts feel like too much. But here's what narcissists never account for in their calculations. Empaths don't just heal, they grow. And growth, when it reaches the Sophia stage, doesn't produce someone who is simply of it. It produces someone fundamentally different. Someone who now understands love and manipulation with equal clarity and chooses accordingly. The narcissist lost you the moment you started choosing yourself. They just didn't realize it yet. You are not the person they studied, not anymore. You are something they have no map for, and there is nothing more powerful than a person who finally knows that